Wire is brought to you by Risora. Elevate your real estate marketing with Risora. Effortlessly design, manage, and automate stunning email and social campaigns with our intuitive platform built for real estate. Say goodbye to complex marketing. Get started with your free account today at Risora.com. And by Notebook LM by Google. Unlock the power of your information with Notebook LM. Upload your documents and instantly access an expert AI that answers your questions, summarizes key points, and generates insights, all based on your specific sources. Become a knowledge master with Notebook LM. Try it now at notebooklm.google.
It seems like AI is everywhere in the news these days, especially in real estate. Loan officers, agents, everyone's talking about it. What's the reality here? Is AI really coming for our jobs?
It's definitely a hot topic, and not just hype. I mean, just look at the numbers. Delta Media put out a survey, and get this, 80% of agents are already using AI in some way.
80%? Wow, that's a lot more than I would have guessed.
It really feels like we're at a turning point, like the iPhone moment for AI in real estate. It's becoming mainstream.
That makes sense, but I still hear a lot of anxiety from agents, that fear of being replaced by AI.
Yeah, I get that. It's a big change, can be kind of scary. But there's this loan officer, she wrote a piece arguing that AI can actually, get this, empower loan officers.
Empower them? Really? How so?
Her argument is that AI can take over those repetitive, time-consuming tasks. Things like summarizing all those client emails and messages, drafting responses, even setting up appointments.
Okay, so it frees them up to actually, be more human, build relationships, give real advice, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But she makes a really good point about doing AI right. She talks about this AI assistant, I think it was for a real estate coach, that was just bad. Wasted everyone's time, made the coach look unprofessional, like those awful phone menus that never understand what you want.
Oh, I hate those. So AI done poorly is worse than no AI at all.
You got it. It has to be integrated, well thought out to really be helpful.
So implementation is key, but AI is also, well, it's shrinking, moving right onto our devices.
You're right. The move from cloud-based AI to what they call on-device AI, big implications, especially for agents working with, confidential client info on their phones all the time.
Makes sense. Less data going to the cloud, more privacy. So we're basically carrying around these super smart assistants everywhere.
Yeah, and some people are saying 2025 will be like the year of the AI agent.
But what does that even look like?
Think about it. You're with a client. AI's transcribing your whole conversation, pulls out the main points, maybe even suggests your next steps, schedules your follow-up, all while you're focused on the person in front of you.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But AI isn't the only big thing happening. All this talk about data share is getting a lot of attention too.
Yeah, it's become a huge topic, especially as we move further into this, post-compensation world. The idea is basically that brokerages, MLSs, they all share their data, supposedly to benefit the whole industry. Resides, Inc., they're a tech company, big on data, they're pushing for it.
Okay, so sharing sounds good in theory, but what are the potential problems? What should agents and broker owners watch out for?
Well, for starters, you've got data inconsistencies. Different MLSs, they structure their data differently. So even when it's shared, it might not be compatible or up to date. Imagine showing up for a listing presentation with bad data.
Ouch, not a good look.
Not at all.
No.
And then there's the big one. Security and privacy. Once you share that data, who has access? What are they doing with it? Could someone scrape it, use it for things you never agreed to?
It's not as simple as just hitting share and hoping for the best, is it?
Definitely not. There are real risks to consider. Resides, Inc., they're advocating for this data-centric approach, right? Where brokers and agents have more control, they can actually use their data to benefit their own business.
So it's about putting the power back in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Are there other options?
Well, there's the idea of these independent, borderless MLSs. Resides is one. They have the structure built around equity ownership, so you control your data. It's like leveling the playing field, letting agents actually profit from the information they're contributing.
It sounds like mastering data is almost as important as, marketing or closing deals these days.
For sure. Knowing how to manage, protect, and actually use your data, it's becoming crucial. And, speaking of shaking things up, Citi just launched their mortgage.com platform.
I saw that. They're saying they'll be the #1 organic search result for home buying within just 6 months. That's a pretty bold claim.
It is. But they've got that name recognition, the trust factor from the financial world. And their strategy seems to be all about being helpful, providing resources and tools for people looking to buy or already own a home, comparing rates, calculators, all that.
Yeah, those are definitely things people need and want. Trying to become the go-to resource for home buyers.
And the timing's interesting. Launching in a bit of a slower market could help them grab market share as things pick up.
Clever. And have you heard about Oisy? They're claiming they're going to replace Zillow.
Oisy, yeah, they're ambitious. What they're doing that's different is using all this social data to really get a deep understanding of neighborhoods, going way beyond just basic demographics.
Like what?
We're talking about things like political leanings, lifestyle preferences. They even look at dog ownership.
Dog ownership. Seriously.
Yeah, it's about understanding the vibe of a neighborhood, right? Give potential buyers a much richer picture. And they're big on empowering buyers, too. Custom buyer brokerage agreements, more control in their hands.
Interesting. It's invite only for now, just New York and Florida. Seems like everyone wants a piece of the online real estate world these days.
For sure. And then, of course, you've got the ongoing portal wars. CoStar, they own Homes.com, and Move Inc. with Realtor.com. They're going at it.
Oh, yeah, this is getting juicy. What's the latest there?
Well, earlier this year, the CEO of CoStar, he straight up accused Move Inc. of fudging their web traffic numbers. Then Move Inc. hits back with a lawsuit saying CoStar's stealing trade secrets.
Real estate drama. So what does all this fighting mean for agents and broker owners?
I think it shows just how competitive this online space is.
Yeah.
Choosing the right platforms for your business is more important than ever. You want companies that are reputable, ethical, and actually care about your success, not just their bottom line.
That's a great point. Alignment of values, a real partnership.
Absolutely. And it just reminds us that this whole real estate tech landscape is constantly shifting. Staying informed, being flexible, being strategic. That's how agents and broker owners are going to stay ahead. It's not all about like cutthroat competition, though. There's some really cool collaborations happening, too.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. Seems like companies are figuring out that sometimes working together is better.
Definitely. Take Constellation Real Estate Group. They're bringing all their businesses under one brand, Constellation One.
Wow, that's a lot of companies. Like, what's the thinking behind that?
It's about streamlining things, creating this unified approach, give more value, drive innovation. They've got two main units now, Comprehensive Real Estate Tech Solutions and a Enhanced Data Services division.
So basically, they want to be the one place agents and brokers go for all their tech needs.
Yeah, that's the idea. And it's not just within one company. We're seeing partnerships that are focused on the client experience, too.
Like that Canopy MLS partnership with Raise. I read about that. Sounds pretty innovative.
It is. Canopy MLS teamed up with Raise. It's this platform. And the whole point is to build more trust and transparency between agents and clients. It gives clients like real-time visibility into what their agent's doing.
So they can actually see what actions their agent is taking. That's got to be huge for transparency.
Exactly. Clients get these clear insights, data-driven, and agents get to show their value. Win-win for everyone.
This whole idea of transparency, it seems to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, especially with all the legal and regulatory changes happening, like that potential TikTok ban. That's got a lot of real estate folks worried.
Yeah, it's definitely causing some anxiety. I mean, the ban, it comes from these national security concerns, though TikTok's denying everything. But now the Supreme Court's going to hear the case.
So it's not over yet, but for a lot of agents, especially those who use TikTok for marketing, it's a big deal.
Especially if they're trying to reach younger people, right, who are on that platform all the time. There's this real fear of losing a really valuable way to connect with potential clients. Like there was this VP of NFM lending, Jordan Nutter. She gets a ton of her business through TikTok.
That's got to be stressful, building your business on a platform that might just disappear.
No kidding. And then there's that NAR settlement shaking things up too, especially with buyer brokerage agreements. Platforms like Oisy, they're already adapting, making custom agreements to make sure they're in compliance.
It seems like being able to adapt is key in this whole environment. And speaking of adapting, those RISMedia RISO board elections that just happened really highlight how important data standards are. The new board's pretty diverse. Got MLSs, NAR associations, brokerages, all the big tech players.
It shows that the industry is realizing, hey, we need to work together on this. RSO, it's all about those data standards, right? Making sure everyone benefits, the tech companies, the agents, and the clients.
A rising tide lifts all boats and all that.
Exactly. And on a completely different note, we've got to talk about IC mortgage technology. They're getting rid of their SDK.
Yeah, that was big news. What's the deal there?
So they're switching to their Encompass Partner Connect ecosystem. It uses APIs, not SDKs.
Okay, I know we have some techie listeners, but for those who aren't, can you break that down? What's the difference?
Okay, imagine this. An SDK is like a toolbox. Specific tools for specific jobs. Great if that's what you need, but not very flexible. An API is more like a universal adapter. Lets different systems talk to each other no matter how they're built.
So it's about making things more, connected.
Yeah, exactly. ICE says this API move will make things more secure, speed up loan processing, easier to add new features.
Makes sense. But I bet some people who use that SDK are a little freaked out.
It's a big change for sure. But the good news is ICE is giving people time. There's a grace period. They'll still support the SDK for a while for a small fee.
Okay, so it's not like they're just pulling the rug out from under people.
Not at all. And they've laid out some steps people can take to get ready, like figuring out how they're using the SDK now, what's mission critical, and then working with their vendors to make the switch.
So talk to each other, plan it out.
Exactly. And speaking of navigating change, let's go back to those online real estate battles. We talked about CoStar and Move Inc., but there are some new players coming in too.
Right. Like citylaunchingmortgage.com. Clearly, they want a piece of that online mortgage action.
They're going all in, saying they'll be the top search result for home buying in just 6 months. They're using their big name, that trust factor from being in finance, and they're really focused on giving people useful information, resources, that sort of thing.
It's smart. People are always looking for good info, especially when it comes to mortgages. It's complicated.
Absolutely. And then there's Oisi, the platform saying they're going to take down Zillow. Their thing is using social data to understand neighborhoods in a way that no one else is doing.
Yeah, we talked about that before. It's fascinating how they're using things like political leanings and even, get this, dog ownership.
They're going way beyond just the basic stuff, trying to get to the heart of a community. And they're starting slow, invite only, just in New York and Florida for now.
It'll be interesting to see how they do against the big guys. Zillow, Realtor.com. Speaking of big players, we were talking about Constellation Real Estate Group before. Unifying all those companies under the Constellation One brand. That's a massive move.
It is. They're bringing together some big names, market leader, top producer, Showcase IDX. The goal is to have this complete set of tech solutions and use their combined brain power to really push things forward. They've even got a dedicated data services division now.
Sounds like they're trying to build a real powerhouse in the real estate tech world.
I think it's a good way to put it. And they're not the only ones who get that collaboration is important. There's that Canopy MLS and Raise partnership, all about transparency between agents and clients.
That one's a good example of how tech can actually help build better communication and trust. Clients, they want to know their agent's working for them, and Raise shows them that's happening.
Benefits everyone. Agents can show their value, clients feel good about the process, and, we can't forget about all the regulations happening.
Yeah.
That TikTok ban possibility is a big one. A lot of agents rely on that platform. And then the NAR settlements making platforms like Oisi adjust their buyer brokerage agreements. Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with. But that's why these conversations are so important. We need to understand how all this is going to affect our businesses.
Absolutely. And we've got to mention IC mortgage technology again, getting rid of that SDK, going with APIs instead. Pretty big shift for the mortgage tech world.
It is, but like we said, IC is trying to make it as painless as possible. They're there to help, giving people time and focusing on how this is going to make things better in the long run, more efficient, more secure.
So it's not change just for the sake of change. It's about moving things forward.
Right. And it's a good example of how something that seems super technical can actually make things easier once everyone gets used to it. With all this focus on competition and change, it's easy to forget about working together.
Sure, right. Those RISO board elections, that's a great example of the industry coming together to figure out the future of real estate tech.
The new board, they come from all over, and they're all about those data standards, making sure they work for the whole industry.
So they're basically creating a common language for all this tech to use.
Yeah.
And that's got to be good for everyone, right? Helps with innovation, makes the client experience better.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
It has been a fascinating look at what's happening in real estate tech this week. We covered a lot, AI, data, those big partnerships, all the legal stuff. And hopefully we've given everyone some good things to think about.
We're in a time of huge change, but that also means there's tons of opportunity for those who are willing to, adapt and embrace new ideas.
So keep learning, keep trying new things, keep building those strong relationships. Those are always going to be at the heart of a successful real estate business.
That's what it's all about. And we'll be back next week to explore even more of what's happening in the world of real estate tech. Until then, happy innovating.
Wow, so much to take in. AI, data, these portal wars, it's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. The pace of change, it's incredible. But I think that's what makes it so exciting too, you know? All these possibilities opening up.
I hear you, but for agents and brokers who are like a little overwhelmed by all this, what's the one thing you'd tell them to help them navigate this tech world?
Don't just sit back and wait. You got to be proactive. Be curious. Try new stuff, even if it seems kind of scary at first.
Love that. Be curious. It's about exploring, learning, not feeling like you have to become a tech whiz overnight.
Right. The point isn't to be a coder or anything. It's about understanding how all this tech affects your business, your clients, how it can make you more successful.
And there's so much help out there, right? Articles, podcasts like ours, online groups, all sorts of training.
Exactly. Use those resources. Talk to people. Share what you're learning. Ask questions.
Yeah.
We're all figuring this out together.
And even with all the competition, there's this real sense of like community.
Mm-hmm.
People want to help each other, share what they know.
It's pretty cool to see because at the end of the day, tech is just a tool, right? It's the human part, your expertise, the relationships you build. That's what really matters.
Couldn't agree more. So to everyone listening, keep learning, keep innovating, and keep building those connections. That's what makes a real estate business thrive.
This has been a great deep dive this week. Learned a lot from AI to data to everything in between. And hopefully you all have a better sense of what's going on in the world of real estate tech.
Absolutely. So much to think about, so much changing. It's an exciting time to be in real estate. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll be back next week with another deep dive.
Hey there, thanks for tuning into The Wire. If you're enjoying the show and want to help us keep bringing you the latest in real estate, visit us at thewire.fm and click the Support the Wire button in the main navigation. Your support makes all the difference. Thank you. Now back to the show. The Wire has been brought to you by Risora. Elevate your real estate marketing with Risora. Effortlessly design, manage, and automate stunning email and social campaigns with our intuitive platform built for real estate. Say goodbye to complex marketing. Get started with your free account today at Risora.com. And by Notebook LM by Google. Unlock the power of your information with Notebook LM. Upload your documents and instantly access an expert AI that answers your questions, summarizes key points, and generates insights, all based on your specific sources. Become a knowledge master with Notebook LM. Try it now at notebooklm.google.